Most people think inflation just means prices are going up. But throughout history, inflation has collapsed entire economies, wiped out savings, and destroyed the middle class. And here's a scary part. Elon Musk warned about this back in 2022, saying inflation pressure is hitting every sector. Prices are rising faster than most people realize. Today, we're busting 3 big myths that almost everyone gets wrong about inflation. The first and most dangerous myth is that inflation is normal. It's just a small price increase. We've all heard it. People shrugged and say, inflation happens, it's no big deal. But inflation is never that simple. It's the heartbeat of the economy. And when it rises fast, it's a clear sign of serious internal stress. The reality is, inflation isn't about things becoming more expensive. It's about your currency losing its value. Think about it. You didn't buy anything extra. You didn't spend more. And yet, your wealth is silently eroding. Let's say you have $1,000 saved. If inflation hits 20%, that money now only has the purchasing power of $800. You did nothing wrong, but the system quietly made you poorer. So why don't most people notice this? Because inflation is a slow poison. It creeps into your grocery bill, your rent, your fuel, and your utility payments in tiny little increments. Over time, these small increases add up. But day to day, people just think it's normal. This is where Elon Musk's warning was so on point. He said he's not sure how long high inflation will last, but the trend is extremely concerning. The translation here is simple. Inflation is a silent tax, and the people who ignore it are the ones who end up paying for it the most. This leads us to the second big myth. Inflation and hyperinflation are basically the same thing. This is where a lot of people get confused. They are absolutely not the same. Regular inflation, say between 5 and 20% a year, is painful but survivable for most economies. Hyperinflation, on the other hand, is when prices rise by 50% per month, or sometimes even per week. It's a complete economic collapse. Cut in sheet eye, and society itself can start to melt down. People mistakenly think hyperinflation is just very high inflation. It's not. It's a currency death spiral. We've seen this happen throughout history. In Weimar, Germany in 1923, prices doubled every few days. In Zimbabwe in 2008, inflation hit an unbelievable 79 billion%. And more recently, in Venezuela, between 2016 and 2019, people's life savings and salaries became worthless in a matter of a week. When hyperinflation takes hold, money becomes so useless that people have literally burned it for warmth, used it as toilet paper, or started weighing it on a scale instead of counting it because it was easier. So how does this happen? Hyperinflation is almost always caused by governments overspending and then printing massive amounts of new money to pay their bills. This completely destroys public trust in the currency. You don't get hyperinflation because prices went up. You get it because people stopped believing the currency has any value left. It's a psychological collapse, not just a mathematical one. Think about it. If your savings account is earning you 5% interest, but inflation is running at 20%, your real wealth is actually shrinking by 15% every single year. You're essentially trying to save water in a bucket filled with holes. Inflation is almost engineered to punish savers. Governments much prefer it when people are spending, borrowing, and investing. They want people to take risks because all that activity keeps the economy running. But here's the interesting part. Elon Musk has openly criticized this system. Inflation effectively transfers wealth from the savers to the borrowers. And why do governments allow this to happen? Because inflation serves their own purposes. It reduces the real value of government debt, it increases tax revenue as prices and wages rise, and it forces economic activity. It also helps hide the true economic stress a country might be facing. For example, if a government owes $1 trillion and inflation is running at 20%, the real value of that debt drops massively. So, inflation isn't just some random accident, it's a tool. This brings up a critical question. If governments know that printing money creates inflation, why don't they just stop? The answer is simple. Because printing money is the fastest and easiest way to fund anything. Wars, welfare programs, corporate bailouts, new infrastructure, and political promises all cost money. Raising taxes is deeply unpopular, and cutting spending is often seen as political suicide. So, the easiest solution is to just print now and let everyone suffer the consequences later. Most leaders think in terms of 5-year election cycles, not 50-year national time. By the time runaway inflation hits the general public, the politicians who caused it are often long gone. So why do people keep falling for these myths about inflation? It's because inflation is the perfect economic illusion. You don't see the money being printed. You don't see your wealth being stolen in real time. You only see the final results, higher prices at the checkout counter. It's not dramatic and sudden like a stock market crash. It's slow, silent, and corrosive, like rust eating away at your financial future from the inside out. Ultimately, inflation isn't just an economics topic you read about in a textbook. It's a power game being played between governments, central banks, and the public. As Elon Musk has pointed out many times, inflation reveals just how fragile our financial system really is. It punishes savers, it erodes trust in institutions, and it silently transfers wealth from one group to another without a single vote or public debate. Most people misunderstand inflation because it feels invisible. It happens gradually, and no one ever really explains who benefits from it. But now you know the real story. Inflation isn't just about rising price. It's a silent force that decides who becomes rich, who becomes poor, and who gets left behind. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe for more videos that break down the world around us.